And obviously there's so many people that still don't know about what Content Live is. It says it in the name. It's content, it's live, and it's golf.
One thing that we're able to do with our coverage is be a bit more interactive. What we're able to do is we're very adaptable, we're very mobile, and the whole idea, it was all about giving the viewer better coverage behind the scenes. So we get them, as you know, we get them right in the heart of it. We grab them as they come off the 7th green and talk to them as they're about to tee. And as a golfer myself, I wanted to bring that into golf.
The best thing about, I think, what Content Live Golf has done is to see some grassroots professional golf. Just to give feedback and give information to the real-time player about what we do as golfers and us professionals are thinking, what we're playing, and how we think and how we're mentally through the game. What Content Live have solely done is bring golf and bring the grassroots professional golfers to the everyday person.
Well, there we go. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Happy New Year, although it's the 26th of January, so it might be a little bit too late to be saying that now. But we're back. It's our first live video of 2021. And, of course, we couldn't go live, could we, without our good friend, Mr. Aaron Cox over there. Now, Aaron, good day, mate. Happy Australia Day. I thought you would have Australian cricket top on today. Oh, but actually, it's not going so well at the minute, is it? India. But anyway, how are you, Aaron?
G'day, Ian. Yes, mate, I'm good. Yeah, I decided just to keep the cricket jersey off, seeing as what they've been doing on the cricket pitch. So I thought I'd just sit back and just blend in a little bit instead of being so glary.
Well, it is an Ashes year, so you might be able to get a little bit of revenge, mightn't you? You never know. Probably not, but you never know. Right, Aaron, how have you been, first of all? It's a shame, isn't it? We find ourselves in another lockdown. It's almost a deja vu into last year, wasn't it? Our series of lockdown live videos. We are back. How have you been getting on this lockdown?
Yeah, good, Ian. I've literally been having a good break from golf. I haven't touched a golf club since the final of the 2020 Pro Tour back in October.
You're joking.
I haven't swung a golf club in nearly 2.5, 3 months now. So
wow.
I'm just enjoying the nice break. To be honest, I did a few weeks work with my junior academy in December, just before Christmas, and then since the 24th of December, I haven't been at work. B, haven't swung a club, and just enjoying, I suppose. You got to take some positives out of a bad situation. So I worked very hard through the year. So I see this as a recoup, re-energize, get the batteries back full, and so I can hit the ground running once we do come out of this lockdown. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm surprised to hear you say that, actually. I mean, are you not fearful of being a little bit rusty when you can get back out on a course, or are you just one of these people who we all hate who can just pick up a golf club and just as if they've never been away?
Yeah, well, look, I'm not going to brag, but unfortunately, I am one of those kind of guys. So I can have 2 months off and then just pick up a set of golf clubs and just go shoot level par or one over on a round of golf, and then a week later play a tournament and kind of be somewhere in the vicinity of a half decent score. Obviously, yes, you lose your touch around the greens. That's where I do get rusty. I do actually, my chipping and putting does go out the window, but my long game, I don't really lose that touch with the long game, which is quite handy. But at the moment, I'm not really thinking about golf. I've just been, started in a relationship, so it's been nice spending some time with someone and a nice young lady. So she's been taking my time up, which is quite nice. Something away from golf.
Yeah, well, let's keep that till after 9 o'clock. If you watch it. Look, Aaron, actually, there is a very important reason why we're doing this tonight, isn't there? There's a couple of things that we're going to talk about. And, of course, we're in lockdown. We know we can't play golf. And the big question, really, I want to ask you, you mentioned you haven't been at the club since, before Christmas. When should golf return, Aaron? And anybody watching, if you've got a comment, please do comment below. Please do tell us. We can see them. When should golf return? Now, obviously, the obvious answer is when it's safe to do so. My question, though, is it not safe to do so now?
Okay, so you've got, and this is a big hot topic because obviously we went through this the first lockdown where we did that big petition, and then even the petition that came out for the November lockdown. So look, you've got to try and see from two sides of the story. So one side, obviously, from us golfers' point of view, that we instantly see, that a problem with golf really being locked down or shut down because of, obviously, it's very easy to social distance. Even if there's in place rules of you must play in 2 balls, then that's also easy to do. But obviously, it is hard with golf being segregated and bringing it back by ourselves, because you've got to think about, well, tennis, and fishing. Obviously, golf, tennis, and fishing have been quite a collective group that have been petitioning to the government, a part of the golf party that's made up of all the areas of the golf industry, the PGA, the RNA, England Golf, Bigger, the Super Intense. So there's a big contingent of the party down in Westminster rallying for golf. But the one thing that everyone, and look, I speak to a lot of golfers and I speak to a lot of people, the one thing that we don't understand, and I think from a golfer's point of view, is that, Ian, you and I could walk and do a socially distanced walk around a park. Okay, so it's a big green park, lots of trees everywhere, might be a pond, feed some ducks, but we can walk around a park and talk and have a chat. But we can't walk around a park and carry some golf clubs in our hands. On the other spectrum, again, I've got a few members who go to the park with golf clubs, like go to an actual park just near their house and hit golf balls in the park because that's their practice. They can't go to the golf course. So that's one argument, is what's the difference between us walking around a park, you and me, walking around a golf course with no golf clubs? What's the difference when we are carrying some golf club? What's the difference? Now, is there any difference between us you and me walking around Sainsbury's or lining up in Sainsbury's for supermarket or at the petrol station? So there's that side of the argument. And then the other argument is, well, you can't kind of give golf that avenue when every other sport is shut down and don't have those kind of arguments and those kind of parameters that allow them to get back.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the tennis one actually is quite a valid point. My thing with golf and tennis is actually quite a difference for me, because in tennis you do share balls, don't you? So you will be touching the tennis balls whilst you're playing. And I often hear a lot of people saying, I can't play golf, or I can't play a sport, or I can't do whatever. But then I go into Sainsbury's and there's loads and loads of people around. And yes, I get that point. But equally, Sainsbury's is there because it provides essentials. You have to eat food and you have to drink water. So you have to get it from somewhere. And that is a managed risk, isn't it, essentially? I think people's probably argument is it's not essential travel to get there, although a golf course would be perfect. I mean, a driving range would be perfect. There's ready-made booths there. So you have your own space anyway, don't you?
Exactly right. Everyone's segregated with dividers.
But I do think where we are now, the government have just, it can't just be one rule for one. It's got to be across the board. So unfortunately, we're just going to have to go with what they say. And let's just get it right, I think, is where we are. So actually, it's a bit of a lame answer. I think it's safe for golf to return, but it's not essential travel, which means you should be doing it. So
look, and it is upsetting. It is like it's an argument that unfortunately will never find a common ground answer, and it will always be up for discussion. It will always be an argument, but obviously you can't just put golf out there on a pedestal when a lot of other sports are struggling. But I mean, and this is, I want to bring up a topic for you, Ian, and this is something that I've only just learned, is the fact that I got a friend who, she's on the LET Access Tour, and she's down in Cornwall, and she told me that if you're on a recognised tour, an elite tour, you're allowed to practice because it's elite sport, like Premier League and EFL. They're elite sports. So if you've got the PGA Tour, you've got the European Tour, the Challenge Tour, obviously Europro aren't playing, but if you're on a LET or a European or a Challenge and you're a member of that tour, there's no lockdown for you because you're elite sport.
Where do you play though? They're closed, aren't they?
I'm a golf pro, but because I'm not a member of Euro Pro, Challenge, or European, I can't play golf, and yet I've been a golf pro 15 years. So where does that argument? How does that argument then stem, and where does that go? What path does that go down? Because I could be out on a golf course practicing as a professional, but because I'm not a recognised member of a tour, I'm not allowed to.
I actually would say, Aaron, and we were having this conversation earlier, and there's a lot of grey areas with this, isn't it? But I think it's about time a couple of mini tours perhaps were made elite tournaments for one very simple reason, that we think, and this is unconfirmed, we think with over 1.1 million people tuning in to watch the 2020 Pro Tour live with us at Content Live Golf in 2020, we think that is at least the second most watched tour in Europe.
Yep.
Don't we?
Yeah.
Possibly the third or fourth most watched tour in the world. Obviously the PGA Tour, European Tour, possibly Corn Ferry might be third. We're talking live as well. We're not talking about we're not talking about Twitter impressions. No. Yeah, not pre-record, not videos that have gone out on Facebook which are only 5 minutes long. We're talking live, like we are right now, live at the course, live content. Now
in 2020, absolutely, I would definitely agree with that. With me, obviously, I was a member. We did broadcasting. I played. Obviously, you've got a few of them, but I totally agree with that, Ian. I reckon we could almost hashtag that one. Hashtag make 2020 recognised.
Exactly. Now we're doing some research, aren't we? We're just double checking, but of course we know the Euro Pro didn't play last year.
No.
We know the Alps Tour didn't go ahead, did it? We'll have to check. Did the Asia Tour go ahead last year?
Asia Tour. I did see that they did play a few events. I'm not exactly sure of how many, or if I honestly couldn't find any info on the Asian Tour.
Right. Okay. I had a little look, and I think there was 4 or 5 events played at the beginning of 2020.
Right.
So if they were broadcast in China, then probably about 38 billion people tuned in to watch.
And that's just like one suburb.
Yeah, that's just one suburb. And of course, we're not talking sort of co-sanctioned events here as well. So the Sunshine Tour, as we know, the Sunshine Tour does a lot of stuff with the European Tour, and the Asia Tour does stuff with the European Tour as well.
And you also got to look at the Sunshine Tour as well. They played, but they were obviously they played, but they were co-sanctioned. So no, you're right. You can't. You got to throw them into the European Tour. So
that counts as a European Tour in my eyes. So we think the 2020 Pro Tour, at least in Europe, was the second most viewed tour in Europe, and possibly the third most viewed tour in the world. Possibly.
1 million live viewers.
Live, and yes, this again, just to clarify, anybody from any other tour, the R&A or the USGA or whoever's watching, it's got to be live. It has to have been broadcast live at the time. We're not talking highlight videos here. We're not talking a highlights package on Sky or BT or whatever. No. We're talking live.
Well, let's put it out there, Ian. Let's put it out there. Let's put it out there. Let's see, right? England Golf, the PGA, the R&A, right? Let's put out the PGA Euro Pro Tour. Let's put it out to them, right? See if we get any content or any information from these guys. Let's try and get this out to all those 4 organizations. Let's see some numbers. Let's see some numbers of live golf in 2020, and we will put the 2020 Pro Tour 1.1 million against all those numbers. Yeah,
live as well. Fantastic.
Live golf.
Right, that's pretty exciting stuff. We'll get back to everybody with that. Well, once we find out, we have started to do some research. We only came up with it this morning. We had a little briefing ahead of this show, and we were chatting about it. And having looked at some stuff I'd seen online, I thought, that look right? This looks better. But I won't go into that. Right, Aaron, I've got another question for you. Very, very important question. There's been so much happening in golf. 18 months, hasn't there? You know, we've seen changes to the World Handicap system. The rules of golf changed this time last year, didn't they? It's now been for 13 months since the new rules of golf have been in. So we had new rules of golf. We had world handicap system changing. It's all gone on. Are we moving forward? My question to you, Aaron, is I'm going to give you a very prestigious position here. It's a position that doesn't actually exist, which is I'm able to give it to you. It's the head of world golf.
Oh,
You are the manager of world golf. That means you're in charge.
Watch Facebook blow up in about 5 seconds.
You are in charge of the European Tour, the PGA Tour. You're in every single golf club, everything.
Wow.
Anything that wants to go through has to go through you. And you get the final say. And you also get 3 wishes. You get to rub your magic lamp, and you can change 3 things about golf, anything you want, and nobody can argue with you. It has to come in. What would you do? You've got 1 year.
3. Oh, geez, Ian. 3 things. You didn't give me time to get ready.
And comment below as well. Anybody watching, if you're in charge of golf, you're the new head of world golf, a position that doesn't exist, which I've just created. We're in complete fun land here. What would you change about golf?
Well, I would. Okay, so let's get this right. Are we talking? Because obviously I've got 3 ideas because I'm a club pro. So from amateur golf, like amateur and club golf, then to professional golf. So where do you want me to go?
It could be anything. You are in charge of golf. So you are in charge of amateur golf. You're in charge of golf clubs. You're in charge. So for example, you could say, I'm going to reduce. One of the things I would do, actually, just to give you an example, is I would say you're only allowed 8 clubs in your bag instead of 14.
Whew.
That's what I would say. You want to make golf a bit tougher? Stop giving too many options. 8 clubs. See how good you are.
I would, I would stick away from the golf bag. But what I would do is I would definitely not I would not have gone the handicap limit up to 54.
Yeah.
So my thought process is maximum for men 36. Sorry, 27 for men and 36 for ladies.
Yeah, 54 is not a handicap, is it? I mean, 54
if someone can't shoot 54 or better, then they should be logically just getting golf lessons to learn the game properly first.
Yeah.
Number 2, well, the world handicapping system. Well, honestly, mate, I've been on the world handicapping systems in Australia. Has been on that system for the last 7 years. So since 2013. So I know the slope system backwards. So it's quite funny that England are now just hopping on board with this, and they've made some tweaks to it. So Australia's made a little change, but England's hopped on board finally. But yeah, handicap number 1.
Just quickly, Aaron, it was our idea before. We just thought we'd test it with you lot first. It's what we always do. Any idea that we're not too sure about?
The US,
we'll let the Aussies.
Australia, that was the first 2.
We'll let the Aussies try it first, because if it doesn't work, then it's not too much of a loss.
So you've got that. I would look, and the ways of professional golf, I'd definitely give more opportunities to lower ranked players. In other words, players that are playing, say, like a couple of the you try and get a mini tour and make it a high mini tour that leads into challenge. So I mean like Clutch Pro, I've got a bit of an idea, or I've got a couple of chances to get to, say, challenge tour events. I would actually have a legitimate pathway from a mini tour straight to challenge tour, because I would want the caliber of golf, say in this country or a little bit of Europe, but mainly this country. I want the caliber of golf to be very high. So you get the guys playing grassroots professional golf, but playing for, all right, like Euro Pro, very simple, probably down the lines of Euro Pro, but maybe a little bit lower. But then give that kind of format. So like a Clutch 2020 and Euro Pro in 1.
Yeah.
Which then gives a direct pathway into the Challenge Tour, and then beyond. Even being able to get, say, the European Tour to give one spot to one major event, either it's the DP World, to the winner of the Order of Merit of this, and like not even going to Challenge Tour, just give them one spot at the DP World. Yeah. That's what I'd potentially look at, trying to get European Challenge, and then these the mini tours. Get them like there's 2020, there's 1836, there's Clutch, there's probably mini tours down south in London. Get them all together in one banner and have one direct pathway to challenge, instead of guys having to pick which events they want to go play. I know it makes it variable and it gives other guys different chances and all that stuff. But if you want guys that are going to play professional golf in this country to then make either European or make Ryder Cup kind of level, you've got to give those direct pathways. And I know Europro at the moment do. I think with what Chris and Adam have done with 2020 and Tom's doing with Clutch, the three of them should have kind of a big meeting about how can we try and make this a bigger countrywide tour as a direct lead to challenge.
Yeah,
that'd be another crystal to look at. Number three, look, I definitely try and get going back to amateur golf. I think definitely working with all the golf clubs to have different areas of membership structures for the entire country. So you've got different areas, obviously, with social economics, and then obviously caliber of golf clubs, but making it a bit more affordable, because we see every year even up here, membership fees are just creeping and creeping and creeping. And as we get through pandemics and people stop working and then businesses shut down because of these terrible situations, what's end up potentially could lose out? Golf clubs, not the tours, golf clubs, because then people can't afford those membership fees. So it's a matter of, we pay England Golf affiliation fees. Why? I want to ask the question, and this is probably going to be a very interesting question that could go the wrong way. But why aren't England Golf looking at rebating golf clubs in this country for the whole of the first lockdown, and potentially now in this lockdown here, we're going to be 3 months potentially? Why aren't we pay affiliation fees for every member? They're going to have potentially 6 months of no golf in 15 months. Why aren't England Golf rebating golf clubs? Why are we having to pay England Golf affiliation fees when no one's playing golf? So I would definitely look at that structure because my members, I know some of my members are putting pressure on my golf club, to the secretary and the club, saying, well, we're not playing golf, so why can't we get some kind of rebate on membership back? And it's a fair question. I'll give you an example. 25% of the golf clubs in England last year in 2020, there's over 1,800 golf courses in England with membership structures. 25% gave a small rebate back to their members. Now that's what, 400 golf courses?
Yeah.
My golf course is one of them. So why aren't England Golf helping golf clubs when potentially members will stop paying their subs? The clubhouse costs and the fees of running ground stuff don't stop, but why are we paying England Golf for not playing golf? That's from a member's point of view. That's the question I would ask England Golf.
I think that's a fair point, Aaron. And as you know, we're involved in motorsport, and this has come up in motorsport as well, because you have to pay a membership to Motorsport UK. And it's not a lot, though. I imagine it's probably, I don't know what the fee is to England Golf, but I imagine it's a damn sight more than most people have to pay.
About 30 or 40 quid per player, 20 to 40 quid per player.
Yeah. I mean, this is roughly similar. It's about £20 a driver or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But I think you've got to remember England Golf are probably suffering as well quite a bit. And if you suddenly took all of that income away from them, there would be no more England Golf. And I do think perhaps it's for the greater good that if it's not a huge amount of money, keep them there, because they do a wonderful job doing England Golf. Yeah. You know, and if you get asked for a certain amount back, or you get a load back, they might not be able to do it. And if you do that, you finish England Golf. And everybody's suffering, aren't they? There's no right or wrong. Everybody's taking a kick in at the minute, and unfortunately, some are going to be harder hit than others. It's nobody's fault. It's just the pandemic that nobody foresaw.
We can't blame anybody.
And it's terrible, but we need to protect the game, don't we? We need to get something
absolutely.
back. And I would like to think that if a golf club was really, really struggling and it went to England Golf, if it was an affiliate member and said, we need help, I'm pretty confident England Golf would step in and help in any way that they could.
I'd hope so. Absolutely. I hope so. And look, again, when we come out of this, obviously, we're going to be in a okay situation in the ways of we're going to be coming out of this potentially around March. And obviously the weather's going to be starting getting better. The clocks will turn back in end of March. So it's going to be fingers crossed. And I say this fingers crossed that we can get back to some golf in March, see some okay weather, and then fingers crossed see that lovely 28 days of sunshine like we had last April to start the season off this year in the same kind of goal. But look, golf. You've got to also think as well, like a lot of members of golf clubs, obviously, an aging population, an aging membership across the country and across the world. Yeah. I mean, even the golf club I was the head pro out back in Melbourne before I left in 2014 to 2017, 2013 to 2017. It was we're talking 55 plus. So. Yeah. The big thing that I see golf is it's an integral part of their lives. It's the mental side of their life. Like they see that as the social aspect. It's catching up with the mates. It's hitting a golf ball. It's the exercise. It's the mental stimulation of doing analysis on the golf course of I've got to hit it here. I've got to hit it this far. Oh, I'm going to check my GPS. I'm this far from the hole, or this putt's going to go left or right. It's that kind of stimulation at that kind of age, which is quite important for those guys between the age of, say, 50 and 70. And also, it just gets them out exercising and keep moving. And this is this is why that argument is always going to be there, is why can't we can go out for a walk, but why can't we play golf? It's just because of that stimulation and that kind of atmosphere, the social aspect is what those and what members of golf clubs really do miss.
Yeah, absolutely, and you make a very good point actually about the demographic of the average golf club member, for example. And I look at it and I think it's difficult for schools, isn't it? Because there's so many different sports out there, and every sport says, "Oh, my sport should be the one that's taught at school." And but I don't get why. In my day, anyway, we had 1 or 2 PE lessons a week, I think. And I don't understand why you couldn't just recycle different sports. 1 week do basketball, then do football, then do rugby, then do golf. Yeah. Surely a major brand like Titleist or TaylorMade or someone, or you dotted about, would sponsor regions and just send a load of, older clubs, for example, that have got sat in a warehouse, which are just going to be melted down and chucked away. Just donate them to a load of schools and just have a golf lesson. You don't need to hit every club in the bag. Just give an 8-year-old a 7-iron or whatever, and just
it's good that you actually put on that point, because it's actually something that I've actually started delving into just after lockdown last year, and then towards the back end of last year. When I was at school, I actually went to a golf school. So I did a golf excellence program where I did it for years 10, 11, 12. So we actually did golf as a subject. So I did my English, I did my maths, I did my business, and then I did my PE, and then golf. So my golf was my 6 subjects, and golf was one of them. And I did golf every day. We had fitness, we had nutrition, we had psychology, we had PT, we had gym sessions, and then we were at the range where we had coaches. We played. We had intercollegiates against other schools, other golf schools. And last year, I actually moved. And once I created my academy and started getting good wheels going, I actually created my own golf excellence program. I actually contacted my old high school, and I spoke to the golf organizer, the golf coordinator, and said, "Can you send me what your current schedule is of how you look after the senior school program?" I said, because I can still recite you, nearly 20 years ago now, I can still recite you when I have my golf Monday to Friday. And it's just straight into my brain. So I actually contacted 3 private high schools up here in the Northeast, and which were quite big on sport. So I sent them proposals. I created this 5-page golf excellence program for their school. Introduce golf to the school, but have their own program, have their own name on it, and they partnered up with the school and up with the golf club. So I had a direct relationship between school and golf club. I actually had a high school come back to me and go, "Yes, Aaron, we're very interested. We'd actually like to do something with
Congratulations.
This."
Fantastic.
And this was going to start in September this year. So that's starting for the next school year. So once I got the kind of the okay, so I already had a PT lined up with a gym, which was very adjacent to the school. I had them lined up. I had a physiotherapist. Actually went, yeah, this is interesting. I don't mind the sound of this. I'll hop on this. Obviously biomechanics, and then also nutrition, and then about the psychology aspect. So I was pulling all these professionals into this program to bring what we call a holistic approach to golf at high school level. And we're talking, well, I just said, well, whatever group or grade you want me to start at. And they went, well, we want to start the years 12s and 13s. So we're talking 16 and 17-year-old kids. Yeah. But then obviously with me, the way I wanted to structure it, well, okay, if you want to do that, well, then 2 years on the track, I want to then push into years 10, 11. Then I want to push into 7, 8, 9, 10s. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, I'm teaching golf to the entire school over a 6-year period, 7 to 13. And all of a sudden, you're then punching out. And then obviously with the relationship with the golf club, they're not only a member of the school program, in that program, you're actually then a financial member of the golf club. So then all of a sudden, I've got a direct pathway for the kids to learn golf at school and come to the Grange and use the facilities. But they're actually a financial member of Blackwall Grange, which then they finish school. They're an 18, 19-year-old kid, and they're a financial member of the golf club. They've just done 3 or 5 years of golf at school. What are they going to do? They're going to go, I'll either get 1 or 2 kids that go, you know what, I want to turn pro, or you know what, I'm just going to keep playing because it's a great hobby while I'm doing uni and working. I'll just continue paying my subs at the golf club. All of a sudden, I've then brought in a matter of 20 to 40 to 50 kids moving into adulthood, creating county teams, junior pennant teams, entity county players, and then they go, hang on, 1 or 2 of them go, you know what, I'm going to try and make this pro and make this my job. So I've got that in plan. I've got that plan in place, and it's starting to roll. Obviously, this lockdown hasn't helped me, and this might get pushed back a year. But I think it's for what I did in Australia, and there was 7 schools in Queensland who did this, and we used to have an intercollegiate where all 7 high schools caught up 4 times a year at different golf courses to play for a trophy. I think that's something that we could catch on, which then gives you another pathway into your county, in England squads, then into your professional mix. Then all of a sudden, England becomes an absolute blossoming area of the world for professional golfers.
Aaron, I have to say, it's wonderful. And your enthusiasm always entices me. It's superb. When I asked a question, I didn't literally think you had world domination on the mind, but it seems you do. But in all honesty, it's wonderful. It really is. Golf does need more people with your kind of enthusiasm and drive. It's fantastic stuff. Just quickly, one thing I would do is I would give complete control for broadcasting over to Content Live Golf if I was in charge of golf. But Aaron, thank you so much for your time this evening. Are you playing again this year when we get back underway?
Absolutely, my friend. I've already joined up to the 2020 Pro Tour. I had a great conversation with Chris last week on Instagram. We had a good little Q&A session. Yeah. I wanted to find out all about Chris. Obviously, he was. I've been watching his highlights on Europro and all that stuff. So I spoke to Chris, and I definitely have already paid up for 2021. So I can't wait for the season to start. I will be starting to get. Actually, I've actually got my plan in place to start practicing in February and all the way through Feb. So my practice regime will start very soon, like next week. But yes, that, and I've got a few pro-ams to play. I'm organising my own Blackwall Grange Pro-am again this year in July. So I've got a lot of work to do on that. Plus, obviously, with my junior academy, all my 100-odd kids. And I've been busy during this lockdown as well, Ian. I've been doing Zoom classes. We had a game. I had all the kids. I had about 8 or 10 kids on my Zoom class. And I said, right, guys, I want you to go away. I want you to create your own putting games. And then when we're going to vote each night for the next night of whose game we're going to play. And the kids went away. I said, right, guys, we're going to go away, create your games. We played putting games the whole of last week, Monday through to Friday last week. And then even on to Monday last night, we played our 6th night. So we had 6 nights of putting games, which they all created. So it has, you've always got to keep your head up and looking positively, Ian. We're in a very poor and bad situation and unprecedented times. But mate, there's no use making this time. It's like, we're all terminally ill. There's no use waiting to that day to fall off the earth. We might as well make it every day count, and do as much as we can to stay positive, look forward, be good to others, be safe. I mean, obviously stay in touch with everyone, and obviously look after loved ones and spend as much time with loved ones, because I'm hurting a bit because obviously I couldn't get home to Australia to see my family, and I've already been told again, mate, I can't get home to Australia until 2022. So that means it's also out for me again this year, and we're in December, and we're still in January this year. So it's going to be another long year for me, and then another long year again before I see my family again. So that's the biggest thing that I can say, everyone, is stay safe and look after each other, and make sure you just yell out and call someone and say, are you okay and how are you?
Well, likewise for you, Aaron. Don't forget you're always part of our family as well. So don't ever be lonely. I'm sure you won't, with your good lady with you as well. That's Aaron Cox. He's going to be a big part of us in 2021, just like he was in 2020. Now, don't forget, you can watch live golf this year. We're pleased to say we are going to be working with Faldo Series this year. We've got some events lined up with golfing days, and it's looking like we're going to be doing the Clutch Pro Tour and the 2020 Pro Tour as well, and potentially some more breaking news, hopefully coming soon. As soon as I get it, well, I'll tell Aaron first, and then we'll tell him. And if you want to watch live golf with Content Live Golf, wherever you're watching this right now, you can tune in and watch live golf. It's completely free to watch.
Go back and have a look at highlights from last year.
Exactly. Go onto our Facebook page or YouTube page and just check out all of the stuff. And it looks a little bit like this. We'll see you next time.